What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to our final episode of the semester. I'm Blake Grudzian.
And I'm Quentin Brown. I know it probably feels like this season went by way too fast, and it did, but rest assured, we're about to give you our best show yet.
Well, I don't think we have much more time to waste, so let's go ahead and give you guys a rundown of our winter sports getting started this season.
Okay, let's dive right into things. With the men's and women's swimming team. Under Coach Anderson's second season, the teams look to make a statement in the water. The women's team has fallen to 3-6 and the men to 2-7, but it's still pretty early in the season, leaving plenty of time to turn things around. But they cannot do it without your supports, Bobcats.
And under Coach Dale Lloyd, the men and women's track and field teams have hopes of competing for the CAC title in both indoor and outdoor track and field. Entering his 8th season, Coach Lloyd has built the men's team to a respectable 70 athletes, and he's excited for his most talented and deepest girls team he's had in Frostburg since he's been here. We're looking forward to watching these teams compete in this upcoming season.
Women's basketball has a new face at the head coaching position. Coach Carrie Sanders has taken the position after her time as graduate assistant and assistant coach. There have been 3 coaches for the past 3 years for the Bobcats. This team sits at 1-6 this season, and there's still plenty of time for the girls to compete, so let's keep an eye out for them throughout the rest of the year.
The men's basketball team ended their last season 3-22, but the team knew there were changes that needed to be made to the team's approach. And this season, the team added 7 talented new freshmen to the squad to work with the last 3 remaining seniors. Now the team sits at 5-3, and not only do they have more wins than last season, but they've knocked off number 13 Randolph-Macon. The team's success is incredible, and we had Devontae Singh go down to the basketball court and find out what led to all this success.
I'm here right now with Coach Webb Hatch. How you doing, sir?
Great.
Doing pretty good today?
Nice to be here with you.
Oh, I appreciate that. So I'm going to start by saying, last season y'all ended with the 3-22 record. But this year you guys actually knocked off the number 13 team. How you feel about that?
Well, to touch a little bit on last year, we had a lot of injuries last year. And we had graduated our 3 leading scorers from the previous team. So we knew last year was going to be a transition year for us. And I think we've got a core group of 6 or 7 guys that returned and really did make an effort in the spring and the summer to get better. And bringing in some more talented recruits, we feel pretty good about the possibilities of us being very competitive this year. You mentioned beating Randolph-Macon, who was ranked number 13. I think they're still ranked in the top 25 or 30 in 2 different polls. We played very well that day. Our defense was outstanding. We shot the ball well. So this team is deeper than last year. It's a little more talented than last year, and I think it's more committed.
So what do you see in the future for accomplishments?
The number one thing is we want to make our conference tournament at the end of the year.
Right, when is that?
That'll be the last weekend in February. So the goals are obviously to improve each day and each week, to keep everybody on the same page, to compete every night. This is a tough league.
Moving forward, we really want to keep the defensive tempo, and we feel like we can get solid 10, 15 more games, and we're looking forward to going to the CAC conference with the big bang. We're the underdogs, but we're going to make an upset.
We've got three seniors, Tyler Campbell, Jabari Kamau, and Joshua Corbett. Jabari Kamau, this is his 4th year in our program. He's a captain, very hard worker, very versatile guy. We can play him at several positions. He's about 6'3", 6'4". Tyler Campbell, looks like Paul Bunyan, got the beard, the full beard out there. Tyler's improved tremendously. He's a very good defensive player if he's guarding somebody inside. Our last senior is Joshua Corbett. He's an inside player, very good rebounder, very good offensive rebounder. So those are our 3 seniors, and they've all gotten better. They all have a sour taste in their mouth, from last year, and they know this is it.
Well, guys, After my interview with Coach Webb Hatch, it seems like there's a lot of things being done right now during the season. And if you haven't had the opportunity to go check them out, this newly revived basketball team is wonderful. So if you haven't had the chance to go check them out, I greatly advise you check them out. And my name is Devontae Singh, and have a great day.
It's so exciting to see the men's basketball team strive. I'm curious to see what else they do this season.
Yeah, it really is exciting to see this team represent the Frostburg name on the basketball court. Best of luck to them and the rest of our teams in this season. And for all of you out there, be sure to go out and show that support.
Now, when we come back, head football coach Delane Fitzgerald will be coming on to the show to talk to us about their previous season.
The pain will not control us. It will never break us, define us, or keep us still. Because arthritis can't beat us if we beat it first. In the fight against arthritis, you need a weapon. What's yours? Visit the Arthritis Foundation at fightarthritispain.org.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
So, what's it gonna be? We could ride bikes, skating, movies, zoo, whatever you guys want to do.
Can we just do this?
Yeah. We could just do this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers. The first pitch is fouled between back.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Welcome back. As promised, we have head football coach Fitzgerald here. Thanks for joining us, Coach.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and I wanted to just kind of start by saying that you guys had a good season from past seasons here, just 1 game short of 500. You came here with really you didn't know the roster that well. You were kind of starting a new game plan. What was the plan going into things with like a new team and everything?
Well, the plan with our staff is we knew we would get here and encounter some problems and some things that needed to be fixed. But the first thing we had to do was get our staff all here and all together and then evaluate exactly where the Frostburg State football program was and go from there.
I got you. I know I saw outside of the locker room when you first got here, there was not everybody was allowed in the locker room, or I don't remember quite how it worked. Or was that
one of the things that I was a little taken back by when I got here was how nice the facilities are. The campus is great. The Lane Center is great. Everything in the Cord Center is nice, from the pool to the climbing wall to the weight room to the stadium, building the new press box and all. But I walked in the locker room, and it was the nicest locker room I'd ever seen as a player or as a coach. And this was the 8th college or university that I had coached at. And I thought to myself, you have this nice locker room, and then you really have some young men in this football program that haven't earned the right to be here. Mm-hmm. So we just a little coaching tactic, but we dismissed everybody from the locker room, changed the combination, didn't let them in, and then one by one they earned their way back into the locker room. Now it's created the precedent within the Frostburg football program that everybody that ever comes onto this campus and joins this football program, you must earn the right to have a locker inside.
So freshmen are going to have to keep their clothes outside the locker room until they're ready to
Until they've earned the right to be there, they do.
Carry a book bag with you.
So, Coach, I want to ask you, do you think in years prior that wasn't established before, that people didn't have to earn their way onto the football team? Is that what you're saying?
I don't think it's fair for me to comment on what happened years past when I wasn't here.
Right.
But I was hired February 4th of last year. And the one thing that really quickly jumped out at me is there was a lack of commitment. That there was a lack of commitment. And when there's a lack of commitment, when things get tough in the fourth quarter, just like when things get tough on exam week, there was a tendency to give up or to quit. And we had to correct that. It was one of the first things we had to correct here was that we had to educate the young men in the football program that you were going to finish what you start. If you started a play, you were going to finish the play. And if you started a game, you were going to finish the game.
So in going into the future, what are your plans for this team? You now have a year under you. I know there's a goal ahead. There's a light at the end of the tunnel that you know you want to achieve. Sure. How do you get there?
The statement that was made and that I'm always going to stick to is that the team meeting we had after the Salisbury game this year was that we walked into the Hall of Fame room and expressed, both coaches and players, that we'd never ever go back into that room after a season with a losing record. So the goal first and foremost is to win 5 or more games. We'd like to win somewhere between 6 and 10 games this coming fall and make the postseason. And so when you ask what the goals are for the future, I would like somebody one of these days to say, hey, coach, realize the last 10 years y'all made the postseason 10 straight years. Give the students and the alumni and everybody that has anything to do with Frostburg State University something to be proud of for a decade straight.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah, and Coach, about the Salisbury game, I had a question about that. There was a situation, I think the score was about 20-7, late in the fourth quarter. I think it was about maybe 3 minutes left or so. And it was 4th and 5, and you guys decided to kick a field goal rather than go for it. I just wanted to know what was the thought process going on with that?
Sure, we were down 20-10 with 10 minutes left in the football game, and we had a kicker, Ike Robinson, that we'd seen hit field goals from that distance in practice, so we knew it was within his capabilities. We had to score twice. We had to score twice to either put it into overtime or to win the football game, and instead of going for it, we ended up getting a false start penalty or a delay of game penalty that put us in a 4th and 9, 4th and 11 situation. Our chances of hitting that field goal were better than making it on 4th and 9, 4th and 11, 4th and long. So we decided to try the field goal. He hits that field goal. We're down 20-13 with 10 minutes to go, and we need one score to tie to put it into overtime, which if you go back, it's the exact same situation we were in on homecoming against Ithaca. We tie the game, put it into overtime, win the football game.
Right, of course. Okay.
And going back and talking about next year, how many players are you losing, key players? I'm not completely familiar with the roster, but is there a lot of holes to fill going into next year?
We lose 9 seniors, and of the 9, they're all quality young men, and I think they'll go out in life and be very, very successful. So we're going to miss all 9. Now from an on-the-field game standpoint, we're losing 4 starters. We lose our starting quarterback, Kenny Edmonds, and we're going to miss him because he was a competitor. We lose a couple of starting tailbacks, and we'll miss them. And then on defense, we're going to lose Matt Heacock at the outside linebacker position, and we'll miss him. And then we lose Keith Smith at the safety position, and we'll miss him. But if you're from a head coaching perspective, if you can sit there every year and say, we only lose 2 starters on each side of the ball, so we're returning 9 starters on offense and defense, we should be very competitive.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at things. And with next year, are there any new teams on the schedule that you want to add, or there
sure,
you want to get to that?
We were in the Empire 8 this past year, so outside of Salisbury, all of our conference games were in the state of New York. 4 long road trips to New York. I think our road trips on Trailways bus were 6, 7, 8, 9 hours.
Wow.
We joined the NJAC conference next year, and it'll be 2 colleges in Virginia, us in Salisbury, Wesley out of Delaware, and then the 5 Division III schools that are in New Jersey. So we joined the New Jersey Athletic Conference, NJAC for short, and our road trips go from being 6, 7, 8, 9 hours to 2, 3, 4, 4.5 hours.
Yeah, and that definitely makes a difference.
The other thing it does is for our Maryland guys and Maryland parents is everything now is regional and easy to get to. Our parents from downstate, they won't ever have to travel more than 2 to 2.5 hours to any game during the year. So yeah, outside of Geneva and Salisbury, we have 8 new games next year.
Wow, and that fan base is important. So Coach, how do you feel as though the team adapted to the new regiments within, with weight training, nutrition? How do you feel as though they adapted with you coming in?
I think there were some older guys that resisted, You know, I had the comment made to me by an older player. He wanted to be successful, but he didn't want to do anything different than he had done in the past, which is simply not going to work. But there was some resistance from some of the older guys. Now the freshmen or the transfers that you bring in, they don't know anything different at Frostburg. So that they take to it, you know, like a fish takes to water, and they get off and running. And it was really, it was a smooth transition, because whether it was the freshman guys or the juniors and seniors, the one thing about our players is they're hungry for success.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, thank you, Coach. Thanks for joining us. It was a pleasure having you come on the show. And don't worry, guys, Coach isn't going anywhere. He'll be joining us at the debate desk. But while we're gone, we've got a chance to sit down with Keith Smith, our senior football player that Coach had in our new segment, Life After Frostburg.
How is everyone doing? Have you ever wondered what happens to our athletes after they leave Frostburg? Well, senior defensive back Keith Smith may have played his last college game, but this is not the end of his football career. Can you tell us your name and what you do here at Frostburg State University?
My name is Keith Smith. I'm a senior here at Frostburg State. I play strong safety and free safety.
Can you tell us where you're from and why you decided to come to Frostburg State?
I'm from Annapolis, Maryland. I made my decision to come here from my recruiting visit. I had sent my highlight tape to the defensive coordinator at the time, which was Bill Menard. And I had got home from school one day. I still remember the phone call. He called me, told me that he was interested and wanted me to come up, wanted me to apply. I applied. Literally, like the next week, I got accepted. I was excited. Coach told me to come up. I came, did it overnight. I liked it here. Told me about the defensive scheme, how it fit in, and I was sold at that point. Right now, I'm presented with a couple opportunities to go and take my career professionally. Between European football leagues and Arena Football League teams being in contact with me.
How did you get this opportunity?
It came about with me talking to my coach Anderson. I told him I was trying to take my career further than just college. I wasn't done playing football yet. And he told me to make the European players profile. I made it. I came up with this little resume that I typed up. He helped me do my highlight tape. And then once I got that done, I just started sending it out. I contacted I sent about around 300 plus emails to coaches. Yeah, it was a point where if I wanted, I had to sell myself. So I basically sold myself to these teams over in Europe, and they're giving me responses back. Out of 300 and something emails, I done got about 20 responses back, some saying that they were interested, some saying they couldn't take players at the time, some saying that they'll contact me. They were in negotiations with 2 other players. Like right now, it's me and one other guy for a team in Germany. So between us two, one of us will be presented the opportunity to play.
What did you learn at Frostburg that you would take with you to Europe?
I learned definitely how to bounce back from adversity. Being here, we face a lot of adversity, seasons in, season out. Especially me coming here as a freshman. Within my first 2 weeks here, I lost a teammate. So that definitely set the toll, to really value the game of football, value my teammates, value the opportunity that I have, because his life was taken right on the practice field. So that affected me until this day. I still think about Derek Shealy. And then from there, us losing the coaching staff and having new coaching staff my senior year, more adversity I had to face, learning to just readjust, reevaluate myself, and try to get the attention of the coaches and show them I was a leader. I would say this year was my favorite season playing ball as a whole. I mean, we went 4-6, was my best season since my freshman year when we went 4-6 as well. But definitely me being a leader on the team, having an opportunity to have 100+ players look up to me come game day and giving the game day speech, getting us fired up for homecoming was my favorite memory, because it was right before the game, before we walked out. I just grabbed the attention of everybody and I just told them what was on my heart at the time.
I don't know about you guys, but I think this is an amazing accomplishment for Keith. I'm so excited to see him represent Frostburg in such a positive way. Keep an eye out for your fellow Bobcat, Keith Smith. I'm Minuet Silver.
This is so cool, Dad. Awesome. This is so cool, Dad.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of siblings in foster care who'll take you just as you are.
We don't win unless we work together. It's how we play our best. It's how we survive on the field. Now that same teamwork can save 13 million people
affected by the famine, war, and drought in the Horn of Africa.
Go to this site and forward the facts to everyone you know.
The more people who know,
the more money we can raise.
And the more money we raise,
the more people we can help.
Because saving lives doesn't take a lot.
It just takes a lot of us.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're gonna be hanging out a little bit more.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
And we're back. Sitting here at the debate desk, I got Q to my right and Coach to my left, and we got a lot of material to cover, so let's get right into things. We're going into Week 16, and the NFL's kind of shaking its way out. Playoffs are around the corner. Who's looking good?
Well, you know, I like the Bengals. I think they're playing pretty good football at the top of the AFC North. I like Seattle. They're playing really hot football right now. They're going into the playoffs hot. New England, they're always good. They're always a contender. I like them. I also like Pittsburgh. But yeah,
as a sleeper type of thing, you got.
I don't. Maybe, yeah. I'll take it as a sleeper. But they're playing good football right now. They just had 2 wins, and one was a comeback against Phillip Rivers and the Chargers. So I like that going into Week 16.
What do you think, Coach?
I think the Seattle Seahawks have the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you were asking me to pick a sleeper pick, New England Patriots. I don't know if that's a sleeper, but
they never are a sleeper pick, but you can consider them a sleeper pick because people, I feel like, never give them the favorite when it comes to the long run. So I actually would consider them a sleeper. And for you, the Bengals, here's my thing with the whole AFC North that you love so very much. Whenever there's a tie, it immediately throws off the whole division. The Bengals are first, but with a tie because they have less law. It just, you know what I mean? Things aren't.
I understand. The Ravens could sneak in there. I understand that. But the Bengals are just playing great football. If they beat the Steelers and the Broncos, I really think they have a chance to be a contender.
And do you think it's their offensive power of Andy Dalton and AJ Green?
I actually think it's a balance because their defense is actually pretty good too. But their high-powered offense just accentuates that. So I think they could be a really good contender.
If you could say now, NFC, AFC, who wins the Super Bowl?
NFC.
I think NFC.
Yeah,
too.
NFC.
I think the NFC is just stronger right now.
Yeah.
When I look at it, I don't even consider the Broncos strong enough to compete with those other teams, the Packers or the Seahawks. I think the Patriots might be the best option coming out of the AFC, even though they are a sleeper pick.
Yeah.
The winner of the Packers-Lions game on Sunday, they're a sleeper.
Yeah.
Those two teams can win it all.
Yeah, I do agree with
So
that.
one team's got the best quarterback in the NFL, and the other team's got the best defensive line in the NFL. Those two could win it.
Yeah.
The wild thing is the one that loses could not make the playoffs at all.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they see, and that's just crazy that's how things have to work out sometimes in the NFL. But moving on to the NCAA, we got 14 playoffs now. Alabama plays Ohio State. Oregon plays Florida State. New Year's Day. What's happening?
Oregon's going to beat Florida State, and they may beat Florida State bad, 21 points or more. Alabama's going to edge out Ohio State. 3.5 weeks to prepare, and you got Kirby Smart and Nick Saban in Alabama. They're going to edge out Ohio State, and then Alabama beats Oregon in the national title game just because their offensive and defensive lines are that much better than Oregon.
Do you have faith in the quarterback position in Alabama? You trust?
I do when he's playing well.
Exactly, and I don't even. it's just I don't know how consistent he is, and that's where I think they could slip up in a situation like this.
I'll give you a stat for Alabama. Do you know that their fifth-year seniors have never been the underdogs in a game? And of course, they've lost 4 or 5 games over the 5 years they've been there.
Yeah.
Wow.
They've been favored in every game. They're going to be favored in these 2 games also.
They definitely will.
Yeah, they have the #1 recruiting class 5 out of the last 6 years or 4 out of the last 6 years. And all those players are in that. So you take the quarterback position and throw it out, and their defensive line and offensive line and their safeties and corners and wide receivers and running backs, they're rated #1 in the NCAA. So they should win.
Yeah.
Now, whether they do or not, that's why we play the
then
games.
you have them, you say they edge Ohio State.
Yeah.
What does Ohio State, playing with third-string quarterback now, what do they have that can take down Alabama?
I wonder if he comes down to earth, because I don't know the young man's name, but he looked awfully good when
Yeah.
they were beating up on Wisconsin. If he plays the same way he did against Wisconsin, it's close. If he doesn't play the same way, it could be a rout.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you think?
I totally agree with Coach. I just can't defer with that. I think I'm taking Alabama. I'll take Alabama.
You do?
Yeah.
See,
they always been favored in these games.
I like this Oregon team. I like Marcus Mariota. I just think that they can run with Alabama. I think that they can put pressure on Blake Sims, and they can make Alabama make some mistakes. That
I like Oregon's team also. We'll go back to this one. Arizona beat up on Oregon, offensive and defensive line pretty well the first time they played. And everybody wanted to blame it on that one player, one offensive tackle was missing. Well, if Arizona got the best of them up front on both sides of the ball, Alabama could have their way with them now.
Yeah.
But what I liked there was that second game for the Pac-12 championship, Oregon just shows up and kind of dominates that game.
They did.
And so that's where I see things like that where I'm like, okay, I think that this Oregon team can make a run. And do we just think that Florida State, they're undefeated, they just won a national championship, but they don't really have a chance with these other 3 teams?
I don't think they are. No. I don't think they're a high caliber team like Oregon and Alabama. When you talk about these type of teams, these are teams that have been doing it for years and years and years. Their recruiting is ridiculous, and they're always going to be in that championship.